YouTube, my name is VOL.2 and welcome back to another speculation video regarding Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC Volume 2, which, although has a lot of speculation going on, we have, well, technically speaking, we're now on the same level that we were, well, a year ago when it came to speculation. Well, no, really. A year ago we had 4 characters to speculate. This time we only have 5 to speculate, have one more. By this time last year we had Joker already out, but we didn't know anything about anything else. This time we do know that, well, Smash Bros. Next DLC could come in June. Sakurai has said that the development for the DLC, even in working from home conditions, has improved. It keeps on being the same steady pace. I know some people have been misreporting what he said regarding the base game. If it had been the base game, they couldn't do it this way. Basically, not exactly true. He said early pre-production could have not been done this way, which could be involved with the fact that early production probably included still the negotiations for some third-party characters, which would require, especially because they're all Japanese, would require face-to-face interactions, and you can't do that in quarantine or state of emergency basically in Japan, and because game development is not considered an essential good. So yeah, no, it wouldn't be done. But now DLC, according to Sakurai, is still going smoothly, and I also believe Japan in like what, this upcoming week or next week is exiting state of emergency, and if things keep going well or continue to go well, then there will be a nice smooth selling from here on out, hopefully, and things will go back to normal. We now have been hearing from some news reporters that the direct that was going to happen in June because of E3 has been postponed or delayed because Nintendo cannot guarantee they're going to be doing a direct. Also, I find it very interesting that it to me proves that insiders are all full of shit when they talk most of the time, because look at the direct. None of them knew anything until like a day or two before Eurogamer was going to report. Eurogamer and VirtualBeat were going to report on the fact that Nintendo had told third parties to go ahead and do their announcements without them, and they didn't be tied up by the Nintendo Direct, because Nintendo did not know when the Direct was going to come, because plans internally were shifting and things could be delayed or not. It's a whole thing going around, and none of them knew basically until those news reports were about to come out, which is pretty funny to me when it comes to a lot of reported insiders discussing what they know or they don't know, or mocking people that denied them or don't believe a lot of them a lot of the time, because they have good track records. But anyway, this video is not about that. This video is obviously about revisiting my predictions from a couple of months ago. Actually, let me check. I think this was done in like February. If this told me, it's not telling me the date. Yeah, from what? From January. I thought it was February, but from January January 18th, 2020. Funnily enough, Jesus, it's been 3.5 months, but it feels like it's been 3.5 years, given the fact that most of us have been under quarantine or state of emergencies for feels like months already, especially when you have to work, because people don't know the meaning of staying at home, especially when the state of emergency is about to end, because in Portugal, like a couple of hours after this video goes up, it will be over in Portugal, the state of emergency, and obviously people are already taking advantage of it, despite the fact that it's still not over. Dumb idiots. But still, let's talk about what ARMS meant for these predictions. Well, to remind everybody that maybe watched or didn't watch the video or doesn't remember, because it's again been 3 years since there, my predictions for the DLC were Rayman, Master Chief, a Pokemon from Generation 8, Geno, Shantae, and Rex. Now, ARMS, the character from ARMS, whatever it is, kind of reaffirms my belief in Rex, because I kind of feel like Sakurai might be taking advantage of the fact that we don't know when the next Smash Bros. Game is going to come out, to already position some of the characters that he probably wanted to include in the original game and couldn't because of time constraints and because of, a lot of the things that went around, or timing, because like these games like ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out a year before Smash Ultimate was supposed to launch, and 2 years after the roster for Smash Ultimate had already been decided upon. And I wouldn't be surprised if both of these at that time were in very early production as well. Couldn't have been more than a year in development, so we didn't know how the characters were going to turn out. Now you might say, but what about Byleth? Byleth came out in the game from 2019. Yes, 2019, and the character still made it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC, despite the fact that the DLC was chosen in 2018, a year before the launch of Three Houses. However, it's good to remember Three Houses was supposed to come out in 2018. That's when the character was chosen. Sakurai played a very early build of it. So and then the delay happened. That's what it caused the DLC for Byleth to be DLC. So, you know, it feels like, to me, right now, Rex, very big contender. What could the ARMS rep mean already? Well, it could be a lot of different things. So first things first, let's start off with if it is Springman and it affects assist trophies. What other assist trophies could come in, and what will they do to the assist trophies? Well, it depends on a lot of things they could do. So first things first would be if they decide that the DLC, if it is Springman, they decide that Springman will be promoted to assist trophy, and they just remove the Springman assist trophy. Well, that could mean that any character from the assist trophy lineup is eligible to become a playable fighter, which I don't think will be the case, and I don't want Waluigi fans to get too excited, let's put it that way, over the possibility of Waluigi getting in, and then we have to listen to them for the next possibly 2 years of them bitching and moaning. And yes, technically speaking, well, a year and a half, because, you know, it's up until December next year, and we don't know when the characters are gonna launch. Even if development is going on track right now, anything can happen, as we're clearly seeing. Anything can change, so let's not get too crazy in predicting what's going to happen, or how it is going to happen, I should say. So if it is a removal, then we can't predict much. Now, if they just do a character swap or a texture swap, let's put it that way, of like, it's the same assist trophy, it's the same model, it does the exact same thing, but it's like you put on a different costume and it's a different character. So like, Springman is the character, and Springertron, I think that's the name of the character, becomes the assist trophy. It still does the exact same thing as it did before, it's just now that it's a different skin on it. I could see it affecting some assist trophies, but the only one I could legitimately think that could, at least that I know, of doing it 100% would be Isaac. That could become a much more eligible character for being a part of the DLC, because if I'm mistaken, he either has like a son, it's either a son or a dad in the games, which could replace him. I don't know how much they differ from one another in the games themselves, but they could make the texture swap and still have the assist trophy while changing something else. I don't think characters like Waluigi in that scenario could work in a swap, because I don't think there's a single character in the Nintendo or the Mario universe first, and then the Nintendo universe that could take his spot. First, you need like just to be a costume swap, basically. I don't think there's any characters that would fit that criteria of being tall, lanky, so I don't think Waluigi would be replaced, so, you know, that's a bonus in my mind. Now, if it's just not an assist trophy, any of the ARMS character is a spirit, that just confirms what a lot of us are already thinking of the, you know, spirits mean nothing, despite the fact that some people firmly believe that it does. I don't, and a lot of people don't as well, so different strokes for different folks. Now, what would happen if it is a character from the ARMS games, and ARMS 2 comes out and it's a new character from that game? That, I don't think that changes much, it just changes who could be a part of the game. So first, let's look at my predictions and how the ARMS character kind of affected. Well, I would say that there's three characters in particular that I could see being replaced by Nuncio or Miss Arms, which would be Rayman, Gino, and Shantae. Any of these three could easily be replaced by it. Any of these three could be the the premium costume in the Arms set, and all three kind of would fit in. Especially if well, Shantae would fit in because indie premium costume. It happened with characters before. It could happen here. Now, what could be for Rayman and Gino, both of them could fit in with any theme. Gino could fit in as in an overall Nintendo theme of like, oh, it's Nintendo costumes that are coming in from other franchises or even assist trophies or spirits. They're also getting Mii costumes, and Rayman could be in as in a punching, let's put it that way, group, as in like we get other Arms characters as Mii costumes, maybe even like a Punch-Out character like Mr. Sandman or Super Macho Man as Mii costumes, because, you know, punching, and then Rayman maybe being the premium pack DLC. Gino, the same thing, a Nintendo theme, characters from Nintendo franchise or Nintendo crossovers, from third parties like maybe a Tokyo Mirage Sessions character Mii costume, possibly even Astral Chain and 1-for-1, because although they're not crossovers in the sense of franchises, but Nintendo working with Platinum Games and with Fatal Frame, because it's a co-owned IP, I believe, by Nintendo and Koei Tecmo, maybe like character from Fire Emblem Heroes, the main protagonist, I forget the names, maybe like Lana or Cia from Hyrule Warriors, you know, as a grand scheme of crossovers, or Nintendo working with third-party publishers. That could be a thing for as well with Gino, and Gino being the premium pack one with songs that would play on any of the Mario stages. Rayman, another thing, could have been a red herring, the fact that he wasn't a part of the previous Mii costume lineup, just to be a part of this one. It'll be a little bit dickish, but it could have been a red herring just to keep us all speculating on the possibility of Rayman becoming a playable fighter in the game. Now, what else could it mean? Well, previously we all thought that maybe Nintendo was gonna this would be much more maybe first party oriented, maybe more first party characters will be included. Heck, in my list I basically made it 50-50, technically speaking. Rex and Pokemon are Nintendo characters, and Gino comes from a Nintendo franchise, although it's not owned by Nintendo, so it will be 50-50. Now, it could mean a lot of things. Well, it could mean that they're just front-loading the first-party IPs, and it's still 50-50, and if it was still 50-50 of my prediction, assuming that my predictions were 100% right, apart from, you know, Arms, I would say that if I had to remove one of the first parties of characters that come from first party IPs that I would think would be removed from, you know, this lineup, I have to say Gino, mostly because Rex is something that Sakurai wanted to include in the base roster, and if he now had a chance, I'm pretty sure he'll take it, especially if Monolith is already working on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or an X2, you know, just so that Rex is not lost to the wayside. Not only that, we have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition coming out this year, and yes, I know getting a character in Smash, or just because you have a game coming out, doesn't mean that you're gonna get a character in Smash. But here's the thing: Dragon Quest, the hero from Dragon Quest, the default hero was based on marketing. Byleth got in because of, not just because of, you know, being a Nintendo character that had a great moveset potential, it's also because it was a marketing ploy, because they just had a game come out recently. Heck, the only character in the first Fighters Pass that doesn't have games on the Switch is Banjo-Kazooie, and all of them have, like, you can see something being made out of all the characters that I got in. Nintendo and Square have a good relationship, and Dragon Quest XI S Definitive Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition was coming out, and it was the one that they marketed. That was the crossover that Smash made. So, you know, then you have Fire Emblem Three Houses that not only came out during the time of the DLC, it was getting DLC for itself during that time period. SNK had a lot of games be successful on the Nintendo Switch. They have a lot of games come out to the Nintendo system. It would make sense. Early supporters of the Switch That's what I wanted to say, not Nintendo systems, but just on the Switch. They were early supporters. They had a lot of success on it. They made a lot of money on it, and they still have games coming out for the Switch. Made sense as a business to do that. And then you have Atlas that has a lot of games come out for Nintendo systems in the past, although on the Switch they haven't done much. We have Tokyo Mirage Sessions and now Catherine coming out. For some reason we don't have Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal, but we have the Scramble. Persona Q2 had just launched in Japan for the 3DS when Joker was confirmed and announced, and Nintendo and Atlas have had a good relationship over the years, so it made sense again. And Nintendo and Microsoft are developing a co-working relationship. Microsoft doesn't exactly see Nintendo as competition, and I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft games more and more pop up on the Nintendo system when it makes sense. I think that Halo obviously is one that I've put my money on it happening. I wouldn't be surprised if Battletoads comes out on the Xbox One and I believe Series X, and then in a year's time it comes out to the Switch. Same thing with Ori. Will-o'-the-Wisp, sorry, it's Will-o'-the-Wisp, the most recent one if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't be surprised if like Viva Pinata and like the Banjo-Kazooie remakes for the Xbox 360 happened on the Switch. I wouldn't be surprised if more older games from Microsoft came in just to build the fan base there, and also, you know, try to get people to come in through coming through with to buy the next system. Jesus, why was it so hard? I think it's exactly the same model that they're taking with the PC, along like Master Chief, the Master Chief games, or Master Chief Collection, being ported piece by piece on Steam. So, you know, it could logistically, I think that will be the steps they're making with the Switch, so we have to wait and see on that one. So when it came to the like first party ones, I'm sensing that that's what I was starting to, but like again, I had to remove one. And then Pokemon, yeah, I was saying that doesn't matter, but like because of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition coming out, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 being one of the tentpole, being the best selling of the franchise, and Sakurai wanting Rex in early on, I feel like Rex has a very good chance of being a part of this DLC. Then Pokemon, it's Pokemon Generation 8 is fucking massive, and I know maybe the decision was made probably before Generation 8 was such a fucking massive deal, but it's still Generation 8 and it's still a massive deal. It's getting expansion passes which were already being worked on at the time. Sakurai already knew that, Nintendo already knew that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sakurai chose one of the DLC Pokemon or one Pokemon from already the base game, from Sword and Shield. And to be honest, I feel like Generation already, like there's some generations that are too big, that are not in Smash. Like Generation 2 is Portal representative. It has Pichu, which was a clone, and it still is a semi-clone of Pikachu. Generation 3 has Jack Diddley's Claude. Same thing for Generation 5, and I was going to say Generation 6 and 7, but both of them have it. And like 2, 3, and 5 are Pokemon generations that don't have proper representation. Especially 3 and 5, they have nothing for playable characters. Now Pokemon and Spirits are there, but like, come on, they're not the same thing. Like, it would be different if we had like Blaziken or Sceptile or Zoroark be playable characters, or from Generation 2, Feraligatr? It's the only one I could really think of that would be, and Explosion could be cool too, but I'm trying to think of like Pokemon from Generation 2 that could be in, and I'm not really thinking of many. Hitmontop would be different enough, that would be cool. Like maybe actually make a full-on, what is it? I'm trying to think of the word. It's not bipedal, but you know, 4 legs, and it's like I forget the word in English. But walks in on four legs. Maybe even the bird, that would be cool to see. Maybe Lugia would be cool. Thanksgiving already has hands, so it could work. But then again, how do you explain? Yeah, I mean, how do you explain them not flying around? But then again, you have Charizard that doesn't fly around, and Pit that doesn't fly around, and Kirby and Dark Pit, and it's a whole thing. Still, massive franchise that could be in. And Geno, although it comes from a first-party IP, is also owned by a third party, so maybe it will be easier to work with. Now, there's also the possibility that they're doing the reverse of what they did with the first Fighter's Pass. The first Fighter's Pass was they start off with the third-party character. They had 4 out of 5 characters be third-party, and then ended on the first party. Maybe this time they do the reverse. They begin with the first party, they have 4 to 5 first-party characters, and then we have a third-party or 2 third-party characters. If that would be the scenario, I would say that, well, Rex and the Pokemon would be safe. I would say that Geno would still have the same amount of chances to be in. Then of the other 3 that I have, like Shantae, Rayman, and Master Chief, I still think Master Chief is like the main event star that Nintendo is going to go for this game, and the decision was made last year. I think that now maybe they could get Sora, but before, maybe I think Sora will be saved for the next game, for base roster next game, because I feel like they have a better chance. I feel like Disney probably doesn't want, I mean, we already heard supposed rumors that Disney was not okay with it, so I'm thinking they more often than not would be okay with the character being on the game, so that it's not trapped in the DLC and they could get some type of more money, because you know how Disney is, and so maybe that will be saved for the next game. Also, again, it's one of the characters that I have nothing against. It's the same as Waluigi. Don't have a problem if they make it into the game. Won't be depressed if they're not in the game. Would be okay with them in the game. Would play with them. Try them out at the very least. But the fan base annoys the crap out of me because, just gonna say this, Kingdom Hearts is a popular franchise. Sora is a popular character to be requested to be in Smash. It doesn't need people spamming it and making campaigns for it. It's not like it's Wonder Red. It's not like it's Hornet. Is it Hornet from Hollow Knight? It's not like it's a small niche character that very few people know about. It's a big fucking character. That's what annoys the hell out of me about it. It's kind of like Waluigi, but in a different tone. Waluigi fans, and although I know it was just very few of them, are much more annoying, and although it was just a few of them, the fan base as a whole still annoys you because most of the time fan base will be defending themselves first and even kind of defending them because they're always like, well, I don't agree with what they did, but Sakurai should have still added the character. It's kind of like, yeah, you're giving them a free pass, but that's completely outside of the point. But if, again, I would think Rayman, Master Chief would be the front runner, the main eventer for this Fighter's Pass. I think Microsoft would be much more okay, as proven, to have the character be DLC. So I don't think they would mind. Then if it's 4 first party and then 1 and 2 third parties, I could see Rayman taking the final spot for the third parties because, you know, Ubisoft is a bigger company. Rayman is a bigger franchise than Shantae, and Rayman fits, you know. And I don't know how. I think Rayman probably could have been DLC for Smash 4 had it not happened when it happened with Rayman Legends. Maybe Nintendo be like, right? We don't really know how we're gonna go about with Ubisoft. It's a weird one. I don't know. And Rayman's a weird situation because he had trophies in 4, he's a spirit in this one, but he does yet to receive a Mii costume, he has yet to be a character. Ubisoft obviously is okay with it. It's weird, I don't know, but if it was, again, 4 to 5 characters for first party, well, we technically speaking have 3 already. I don't know who I would put in as 4 and 5. Well, Isaac could make a case if it is, you know, assist trophy that they can swap out the look of the character. Everybody else is a little bit up in the air on who could it be. But anyway, that will do it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me in the comment section what are your opinions on all this, and going with the theme of what the video was, tell me who do you think would be the assist trophy, if they could replace assist trophies just like with a character swap, as in, like, you know, the texture swap, basically, a costume swap. That's what it is. Who could be the other Mii assist trophies that could join Smash realistically, not go with like Waluigi, and they could change Waluigi's sprite or texture to be, or costume to be, I don't know, insert Fire Emblem character here, because now instead of a racket it's a hammer. It's a Goron. It could be a Goron because it now has a hammer instead of a racket. Although that would be pretty funny to see. And also, if it is a spirit, what other spirits could you see coming in with Smash? I mean, then again, I have 4 already. And if it was 4 to 5 first-party characters, which ones do you think would make it in, and who would be the third-party characters that would make it into the game? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Video much of DS. See you guys next time.